Today, we have the honor of speaking with Rosie Cordero-Stutz, our Miami-Dade County Sheriff, the first elected sheriff in over half a century and the first woman to ever hold this position. It's been just over 100 days of your new position in office. I want to know how it's been, what has surprised you, what you thought was going to be a certain way that ended up being a different way. Thank you for being here, Sheriff. Gracias.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to be back here. I mean, I remember being here when I was going through the campaign process like yesterday. It's so in a really good way.
It was a little different then.
It was.
Campaigning and now?
It's a little different. It's definitely, but the hours are probably about the same or worse.
Are you sleeping more?
No.
Less?
No, yeah. I would tell you that I'm sleeping more interrupted than I was during campaign, right? Because now I get a lot more calls in the middle of the night that may have to be addressed.
You're literally on call 24/7?
Yeah, I work 24/7, 365. And that's okay, because that was a job I signed up for, especially as we're establishing this office of the sheriff, right? These first 100 days, super important. But, these first few months, we need to set the tone. We need to make sure that we create that foundation that I talked about.
How's the ride been so far, those first 100 days? These first 100 days?
Yeah, crazy, fast-paced, but fantastic at the same time. To be able to really get things done that I envisioned, and see them come to fruition in a relatively short period of time. Also to see things moving along quickly, because obviously it's not going to happen in 100 days. Some things are going to take longer, but to know that they're moving forward has been wonderful to me. And I think it's been wonderful to all of the people, the command that are working, and in turn the deputies, right? Because we all know what we felt needed to be done. But now to see them kind of moving forward is pretty cool.
What's not moving faster? Or what would you like to see move faster? We'll get into that. But is there anything that you thought would be, that's now easier than you thought, or it's been harder than you thought it would be?
I'd say easier. Okay. I'm going to say, and it's almost to a point that I have to be careful now, which is I will come to my team and I'll be like, oh, I think I want to do this. And then before I know it, the ball is rolling, and they're running with it. They're making things happen. They're making moves. They're making calls. And before I know it, they're coming back with a brief. Okay, this is where we're at with that thing you wanted. And I was like, oh, I was just kind of thinking about that. But
cops are generally that way. Problem solvers.
Yes.
Get things done quick. Yeah. Use a lot of logic.
Yeah.
A lot of times in government, things get caught up.
Correct.
And there's bureaucracy and red tape.
And
have you found a lot of that?
No, but that's exactly what has been removed. That
Awesome.
part. Now, obviously, it's not zero because there's still a lot that we have to do and
process.
figure out. We have to figure it out. We have to create a lot of things. There are things that are not created, literally, that we have to be like, okay, how are we going to do this part of the job? But it's been pretty cool because, like I said, I go, oh, okay. So, for example, I had asked for some ideas on our training program, and you'll understand this, right? Our field training program, we pretty much had the same program for years and years and years, and I just think that we can do better. Like I feel like we need to kind of touch it and spruce it up, find out what's working. Are there new programs out there? What get back to me. And I literally got a memo yesterday, and it's like, I was sworn in on January 7th, and they have flushed out a brand new, look at this, ma'am. Look at all this stuff we found.
This is better training or better processing?
Better process of our field training program for new deputies as they come out of the academy and onto the road. Right?
What changes have been implemented there quickly?
Nothing has been implemented.
Okay.
It is a proposal.
All right.
But I can't really share because
But who needs to prove you're the boss now?
But the point is, it's just that now. Okay, so here's the idea. Now you got to think about the implementation.
Right.
How is it going to affect people?
So you went to the troops and you said, how can we make this better?
Right.
And these are the recommendations they gave you, and now you get to draw it up and implement it.
Correct.
How exciting is that?
How exciting. And they did just that. They went to the troops, the people who have been training for years, so saying, boss, these are ideas that we've been tossing around for a long time. Here is a proposal.
And when you came during the campaign, and I met the other candidates, there was a lot of fine candidates there. But I always said to myself, I think that the person who deserves something is not the right word, but I think the person that would be
maybe
the right candidate and the person that would be respected amongst the ranks and for morale of the department as well is someone that understands the culture, someone that's been within the department for a long period of time. And that's you. You bring the experience.
Yes.
You have the respect amongst the men and women of the ex-police, now sheriff's office.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel that support from your troops?
I do. And I'll tell you what I wish I could do more of.
Yes,
right?
please.
Is that as hard as I'm fighting for the things that I know that my deputies deserve, it's still not fast enough. And I wish I could flip a switch and make some of those things happen.
Like what, for example?
Well, some of the budgeting stuff, because remember, I took
always
office.
About money.
Well, without
right?
money, you can't do anything.
Yep.
And
true.
so, I had no part in the budgeting that I walked into. So I had to kind of come in the middle of, a quarter of the budget had already been spent, and find a way to fight for it. Find a way, because there was no mechanism. Mm-hmm. So we found a way to approach, and I'm very hopeful. We're very close, right? Again, I'm not at a place where I can really talk about it yet, but I want my troops to know that we've been fighting very hard. I've been fighting very hard for them because I understand that this community deserves a certain level of public safety, which is why we are loved in this country, which is why everyone's coming here in droves. Right? Which is why we have been successful working in partnership with the leaders of our community because of all the good work that we've done. But we have to start there again. So that's one of the things that I would say has been maybe frustrating for me, right? But I'm going to get there.
Sure.
I'll get there. But
I was thinking as hearing you speak, there's, number one, South Floridians, for the most part, respect Floridians, and the majority of people in this country respect our law enforcement. That's not always the case. It's a very challenging job. There's the sheriff's department, now sheriff's, ex-police. I'm sure you have this culture thing.
Oh gosh, let me
going
tell you,
the transition for so many years, saying police and now say sheriff, right?
So I'm speaking and I say officer, deputies.
Deputy. I'm a deputy now. But sometimes, and this happens to police officers across the country, right? And talking about money and problems and politics, sometimes they get involved
Of course.
They get into the patrol cars as well, unfortunately. But there's a lot of burnout from different police officers and agencies. And, I want to go to that agency because they pay a little better. I want to go to the other agency. They always say the grass is not always greener. On the other side. Yeah. The Miami-Dade Police, now Sheriff's Department, is accredited, very well respected. There's a lot of chance for advancement as well. But a lot of people get caught up in that, the money part or the advancement part. Or what's your message as sheriff to the members of your department that have been career police, now sheriff?
So the first
they might feel burnout maybe.
Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to say is please hang in there. Hang in there with me. Hang in there with us, your command. We're working diligently and very aggressively to make the changes that we know need to happen. And we wish we could throw a switch, but we can't. But give us the time. We will get there. To remind everyone, it's only been just over 100 days. And we've been able to do a lot, right? Also is that if you are feeling burnout, the beauty of the sheriff's office is there's so many different jobs you can do. Look at a transfer, look at another assignment. If you've been, you know what I mean? Because that's the beauty of working for the largest department in southeastern United States. Maybe even the third largest sheriff's office in the country. We're still debating that, by the way. There's a lot of, no one can figure that out just yet because we're unique. Well, I should say, we are unique, yes, but we don't have corrections and we don't have fire and we don't have the medical examiner's office. And those pieces across this country, many sheriff's office have one, two, or more of those pieces. And so you can't compare apples to oranges. Right. And so that's where, but regardless, we are one of the largest. We are up there. And so that's the beauty of the sheriff's office, right? Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office. If you're burned out, consider moving. If it's an overall like just frustration with the past several years, the transition put a lot of stress. I mean, when you feel like you don't know what's going on with your job and your career and your profession and your retirement, and that's a lot of stress. This is your family. These are your kids. These are your spouse. This is your children's future.
When on top of all that, you're worried about your back, watching your back, your safety,
Yeah.
literally your life
Your
and
life.
that of the community.
Yes, exactly. So, and you talk about jumping from department to department. That is the one thing that, as a leader, I believe that we have to give our deputies. We have to give them safety and security in those areas that we can.
So that they don't have to consider that.
Correct, because ultimately, money is it's always a shinier thing, right? But I think that if you feel comfortable and confident in what your department offers you, your well-being, your job security, your family, your benefits, and that you know that the people that you work for really care for you as a human being, that's going to trump a few extra dollars an hour.
I have not talked to one Dade County Sheriff's deputy that has anything bad to say about you. There's a rumor, though, amongst
The troops?
The troops, yes. I hope she doesn't
love
take away.
rumors.
I hope she doesn't take away our beard policy.
The beard
Are there
thing
rumors
again.
that Sheriff Rosie plans to to implement a policy not to allow beards in uniform?
I'm so glad that you brought this up because I want to clear the record. I am not taking away the beards. I will, however, enforce the beard policy, which is that you will maintain a trim and proper beard, right?
Am I within regulation for Dade County? I'm within regulation for my city, Miami. I'm a reserve Miami police officer, and this is within regulation.
It looks pretty good.
Okay. Anything I can do to better this? Or
No, I'm gonna let you slide.
Just a
I'm
fly,
not
just
gonna
a fly.
call you out. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. You look very handsome with your beard too.
Thank you very much, Sheriff. Muchas gracias. I'm flattered. I'm blushing now. Thank you.
But you have to obey
Yes.
policy.
Right.
Obey policy. We do things for the good of the order, right? The good of the troops. But we have to stay within policy, and I think that's
Are we
the
our
key.
worst enemy sometimes?
We really are our worst. And it's not just the guys with beards. I mean, I'll call the ladies out when it comes to their hair, right? Keeping that hair in a bun.
Okay.
There is no one with 29 years and a hair in a bun who
Right.
doesn't understand how uncomfortable this can be. I get it, but there's a reason for it. It's for safety. And so, yes, your hair should be tidy.
There's one more rumor I need to clear up. There's rumors that you are going to ban twerking in uniform and listening to toquisha music. Tú eres dominicana, you're Dominican.
Yes.
We can't listen to toquisha in
Okay,
in
you
the
are
police
welcome
vehicle.
to listen to that on your own time. No.
Okay. There are two women in very powerful positions in Dade County. This is another unique. We have the mayor, Daniela Levin Cava, and we have our sheriff.
There's three.
Who's the third?
KFR, Kathleen Fernandez Rundle.
Running our state attorney.
Absolutely.
What does that say about Dade County?
Wow. I guess I hadn't really thought about it till you threw that out there. I just happened to be with a state attorney a few days ago, so I thought of her as soon as you said that question. I think it says that we are a community that allows for kind of growth and expansion and kind of see the benefit of having women in power, right? Because really, I think ultimately is about getting the right person in the right job, right?
Absolutely.
And I think I feel very strongly. I mean, it's why I ran. I felt very strongly that I was the right person for this job. And as we all know, the state attorney has been in her position for a long, long time, has been reelected time and time again. And the mayor's in her second term as well. So I think for me personally, I'm just very grateful to the community for acknowledging and being able to see the value in what I was bringing to the position.
How's your relationship? Obviously, with the state attorney, you just mentioned very well, with the mayor.
So we work very, well in regards to the stuff that we have to get done. Right now, we are in the process, like I mentioned earlier, to work out some of our budgeting stuff. And so that's been a challenge, but we've been coming to the table and having these conversations. So that's good. That's always good.
I like effectiveness. We all do. And in your position, you're just describing it here as well. Dariel Fernandez, our newly elected tax collector, right?
Yes.
Also a first time for a very long time. I love the fact that he got into office right away and pointed out a problem with the driver's license issues and these people that are incorrectly selling these positions to hold,
I know.
a place in line and making money off of that. And I was talking with him and I said, why don't you go to Tallahassee? And I said, why don't you try to make a state law? He goes, that's great, but we don't start in Tallahassee. We got to start with the county. And 2-3 weeks later, he calls me up, hey, we got an ordinance now that makes this illegal.
So
Things need to function like this.
100%. And I'm going to tell you the biggest thing that surprised me, and since I was sworn in, the biggest surprise is how much time I have spent in Tallahassee. how much time I have spent saying, because yes, I guess we've been more involved in the ordinance process, right? As being law enforcement, right?
Right.
So, but I recognize now how much influence I'm able to have at the state level when it comes to having teeth, right? In the laws that we need to do our job. And I'll give you an example, a really great quick one. As we all know what happened at Copa, right? It was really a bad situation. One of the things that we put forth after that is to give us a little bit more teeth for these major events and people who come to who want to do evil things.
Are we ready for next year?
We're ready. We're ready. We continue to work on being even more prepared. And one of the things that we've done is just to work on legislation that says at events over 5,000 people, if you are issued a trespass, where normally that is a misdemeanor, as you know, at a major event, it is a felony.
Okay.
So if you come here and you're going to do wrong and you fit under the criteria of a trespass, you'll be charged with a felony.
And
so
that is totally justifiable because you're talking about human lives. Where if there's a stampede,
exactly,
if there's an emergency, people will literally lose their lives.
Yes. And so
where was the fail there during Copa?
Well, it's hard for me to give one analysis, right? One, I wasn't there. That's number one. I had already taken a leave of absence for campaign, so I was not even part of the process. But from the outside looking back, right, which is something that we as an organization always do to try to learn lessons. One is that we should have definitely addressed the security measures better on the property. We should not have allowed that engagement of people who did not have tickets to get that close to the stadium. That's a first layer of security that should have probably occurred. And I know it was a great idea. I think the attraction of having the big monitors that entice people to come. But in hindsight, it enticed people to come.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that we needed to look at the plans that they had and look at it from a security point and say that's not going to work much earlier on.
I want to talk to you about immigration with all the changes that we're seeing currently in immigration policy in our country. How's the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office working with or staying separate from federal immigration agencies? And how, I know that there's been some changes and there's new powers as well. What are those?
Okay, so one of the things that has changed is the fact that we now have state law that actually does require that we are in support of the federal immigration. And I think that that's a very key piece that has changed since the last time even that I was on the show. But what we're doing is continue to cooperate with our federal partners. And so I know that even though the law is there and that has absolutely changed, the truth is that, as you know, we work with our federal partners for years and years and years. That's not new, right? We work with MOUs, which is memorandum of understandings with each other so that we can help to cooperate and support. Now, as the federal government increases their footprint in the immigration arena, right, that means that our footprint has also had to increase. I know that on the correctional side, they have had to increase their role as well. And then for us, on our side, it really is right now the only thing that we are doing that's additional is that we are training more of our deputies to be able to have access to be able to conduct minor type of investigations, which is just computer-based. It is not going out. It is computer-based to determine if there's any information that then we turn over to the federal government for them to decide if they're going to.
There's not much change there from what you're describing.
So it really isn't too much.
Right.
I know that unfortunately the message is sent that, every time an MOU is signed, they said, oh, the truth is it isn't really much. These are not much more than what we've been doing for years with the federal government.
There was recently a case, unfortunately, where a deputy had to use deadly force on a domestic violence 911 call. Those are intense moments, ones that deputies and police always train for, but never want to have to implement, despite what a lot of people would like others to believe. The department, what is the department doing to handle these type of situations better and hopefully prevent the tragic situations, tragic outcomes?
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. And I really feel like it feels like it's been a lot in the news lately. We've seen it in South Florida in general, a lot of these type of cases where the level of domestic violence is escalating. at very high levels. So unfortunately, this deputy was confronted with this situation, and unfortunately, he had to use lethal force. There's two angles, I think, that I want to say about this. Number one is you have the situation with the victim, right? This is someone who literally is in fear for their life from someone who they were involved in a relationship with, right? So for them to have to pick up the phone to call 911 for help is incredibly difficult. We understand that. But we also want to make sure that the community understands that do so. If you are in fear of your life, pick up the phone and call for help. That is, we are there.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, we have victim advocates that help to support our victims after the fact because, we can respond and handle the crisis. Let's say in this, if you go, whatever happens. But then what? The victim is like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. So we have victim advocates that are fully trained in supporting these victims to hold their hand through the process so that they can get resources to get them if they need housing, if they need assistance, if there's children, care, child care, if education, training, whatever it may be, even temporary housing while they're, trying to get family to help them, whatever it may be. We have what we do is connect them, right? So it's not because the police or the sheriff's office has that internally, but the victim advocate has the ability to walk them to these. There's so many different organizations that can provide them. And then you have the other side of the coin, which is the trauma that our deputies, our law enforcement in general, is exposed to with these kind of cases. In this case, it was a fatal shooting. So we've been working very hard, and it has been one of my priorities to ensure that we have a support system for our deputies. Our mental health and wellness is a top priority for me. I will continue to work diligently and offer our deputies every avenue possible so that they will take the help. We have had a few difficult years, whether it was transition and all the changes and all the unknowns, like I mentioned. And now, in addition to the job itself.
And in violence against law enforcement, and that's even touched Florida and unfortunately Dade County, the sheriff's office as well.
Yes.
You have two of your deputies, they're brothers, and they've been here before, and we've joined forces.
The Blue?
Yeah, Bleeding Blue. I think it's fantastic that we're talking about these issues. That when I graduated the police academy at 19, we had general, stuff that they tell you, talk to your peers and this, that, and the other, and the psychologists are always there, if you needed to talk to somebody. But it was kind of like siempre un secreto a voces. It was always like quiet under the table. Don't let your supervisors know that you were having issues with anything. But now mental issue is, I'm happy that it's being talked about in this profession. More and more we see officers and first responders, that resort to alcoholism or violence. They have domestic issues themselves. And some of them, unfortunately, make the unfortunate decision of taking even their own lives.
Yes.
Because they don't feel that there's an out there. What's your message as sheriff to your deputies and everything specifically when it comes to this difficult taboo topic of mental health?
Just that they're not alone, that we are here. And I wish there was a one answer fits all situation, but I recognize that is not the case. And for some of my deputies, maybe it is a chaplain and a religious or a spiritual support system that they can turn to.
That's
we
great.
have that.
Also, because when I graduated the police academy, we didn't have chaplain. We had chaplains when, unfortunately, we buried one of our own.
Yeah.
But not a chaplain hanging out at the police station.
Yes.
Or they would show up at a shooting scene or at a critical incident to debrief.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously we have our psychological support services, which have a therapist, that's internal. And then I've tasked them with ensuring that they have external support so that if an individual does not want to utilize the internal, that we have resources to direct them outside. Because for me, whether you're getting support inside the organization or outside, I don't care. I just want you to get help because you deserve it. We love you and we want you to be okay.
April is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month. What kind of training and programs are available within the sheriff's office so that the public knows?
Yeah, so we have a really great, robust program when it comes that recently rolled it out alongside Commissioner Raquel Regalado. something that she spearheaded in the county, and we're very blessed to work with her on this. And the program, what it does is that we trained. Actually, we're almost done with the entire department right now, but all of our deputies are trained with skills on how to interact with someone who may be on the spectrum or have some other way of communicating or difficulty communicating with us. They can communicate just fine. We just don't recognize it. And that's one of the things that we learn, right? And so if an individual family determines that they want to register for the program, and I'm going to remember the name of the program by the end of my speech, they can register, put all the information, right? And then they receive 2 stickers. The stickers is one for the car, one for their home, on their door, on their window, so that when a deputy or an officer in law enforcement encounters them, whether, let's say, traffic stop, and now you walk up to and now you see the sticker, you immediately recognize that there may be someone in that vehicle that may be on the spectrum. And therefore, you can now tap into that. It just gives you that awareness. So
and
that
it's
you can
so helpful. And some departments have different names, and some are more complicated than others. But the decal program, that they call it in Hialeah, different municipalities have also implemented it. Hialeah, the city of Miami has just implemented it as well. And where dispatchers could have that information, so when officers are dispatched to an emergency at these houses, these locations, they know that there's someone within that residence that's on the spectrum or that has a certain need.
Correct. And that's half the battle, right? We are often, as in law enforcement, are constantly trying to figure out what's going on here. What's going on here? What am I dealing with? So to have that little bit of information right from the beginning, wow.
Definitely helps.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you feel that being a woman in this position has brought you unique strengths or perhaps unexpected resistance?
I would say unique strengths. Because I think, like, even this conversation that we just had about mental wellness, like, I feel like I can speak to that a lot stronger than, because it's okay, like, because I'm a woman, right? And I say that, like, I embrace it, like, I'm good. I've left behind a long time ago that, like, people, no, because you're so, like, in this male-dominated field. I go, I've been here for 29 years. I have left that so far behind. But I recognize that as I stepped into the role of sheriff, now it's the first time people are seeing me outwardly.
You don't have an issue with it, but others, unfortunately, may have an issue with it, right?
Yeah. But it's their issue.
So what do you tell them?
It's their issue.
It's their issue.
It's their issue. I have a job to do, and I'm just going to do my job.
And you're doing it well, Sheriff.
Thank you.
In these first 100 days, what we've talked a lot about within things that you need to accomplish, that you have accomplished, and you're looking forward to accomplish. What would your message be to the residents of Miami-Dade County that want to better understand their sheriff's department, that want to help solve crimes, that want to help make our community better?
I would say, number one, thank you. Thank you for the support, first of all, in myself and also our office, because I think that there has to be a level of trust and transparency. One of the things that I've done very early on after I created Share with the Sheriff. They're like meetings in the communities where everyone could come. So you don't have to travel anywhere. You can come and say, these are our concerns that we're having right here. And I brought our people there so that we can address them right away. And I will continue to have those levels of exchange with our community, because I believe that if without communicating, you can't solve anything, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. You have to have conversations.
Sure.
That's number one. So, and for me, I would say I look forward to growing in that arena. I look forward to listening to great ideas and trying stuff out. And some things are going to work great and some things we may not, but that's okay. We'll scrap those and we'll get back to the table. What you are always going to get from your office of the sheriff is a willing partner in ensuring the safety of this county. We will work with innovation. We will work in however way we feel and we see we can do better. And I think it's an exciting time for this county.
Sheriff Rosie, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your time, and congratulations on your first 100 days.
Thank you very much, Enrique. Thank you for having me.
Si viste este video completo, significa que tú me quieres. Te lo agradezco. Ahora suscríbete